Good morning. What did I just do? I was trying to grab a window and it did a weird thing at me. Good morning. It is 6:31 a.m. on Friday, October 27th, 2017. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. Wow, I cannot believe October is already almost over. That this month has seemed to go by crazy fast to me. But probably still just happened one day at a time. I have to believe that. I choose to believe that because the alternative would suggest that there's some sort of a time effect happening where the world and all of reality is distorted in some way that I can only perceive at the limits of my senses, the back of my mind, but have no rational explanation for, suggesting that the world is all but just a carefully constructed illusion that is starting to break down with unforeseen consequences. No, probably not. So how did everybody else do? I ask a question as a segue, as though I can actually ask you a question and you can answer it, and then we can have this conversation. But I made grilled cheese sandwiches last night. It was a recipe from Blue Apron, so it had all sorts of weird stuff in it that I wouldn't, like if I was me, Christiana, just saying, hey, I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy stuff for grilled cheese sandwiches, I would buy some cool stuff, but I probably would not have made a grilled cheese sandwich that had apples in it, and chives, and Monterey Jack, and lamb chopper cheese, which according to the little description is Gouda-like, but made from sheep's milk rather than cow's milk. And it tasted like cheese. The grilled cheese sandwiches were actually very tasty, but I think in hindsight, my pan was not quite big enough to do both of the sandwiches at once. Like, they both technically still fit in there, but they weren't even on the bottom, which obviously creates uneven, cooking pattern. I didn't, there was nothing that went so far awry that they weren't still very tasty, but I think just for aesthetic appeal, having them look nice and even in their grilled state, either use a bigger pan or just one at a time. Thus, the lesson has been learned, and now I have passed it on to you. I think maybe because it's towards the end of October, I've got Halloweeny tone on the mind. I don't actually really have any plans for Halloween. Tuesday this year is kind of a weird time for it. But, I actually have a lot of stuff that I have to do at work today, so I'm going to have to be hustling, getting to work a little bit early. Got more in the field tests to do today. I think the last time I had a significant in the field test, I talked about this a little bit, but it's this, again, it's almost like some sort of, how I feel about like some social activities where I have to leave the house, where I get this part of me that is like anxious about it and say like, oh, but I don't want to do that. That seems hard. But then when I go, it's fine, because of course it's fine. But it's like I constantly reinforce this to myself because I think it is a useful life skill for understanding my own brain, and just this idea of recognizing that I often have this irrational reluctance to do things that I know I actually do want to do. In this case, it's not even just that I want to do it, it's like it's my job. Like, that's, it's part of what they're paying me to do, so yeah. But I actually do enjoy the change of pace when it happens, and so assuming that something doesn't, explode, and I don't know any reason why it should, it'll be fine. So, yeah, and change of pace sort of day. But in the meantime, I am we're not doing any So More Levels, Many Levels, or Curse of Strahd this week because I'm preparing for Extra Life coming up next weekend, the 4th and 5th, which is going to be awesome. And I need to still produce, as I mentioned earlier this week, I need to produce like a higher quality video of here's why you should donate, and it's going to be cool. I'll probably do that tonight, I think. Yeah. Anyway, I got to go ahead and get ready for work, so I'll talk to you tomorrow for 5 more minutes.